Constitutional Council's office shut. Opposition leader Venancio Mondlane claims the vote was rigged in favor of Frelimo and that a separate count shows he won enough votes to take office. Some had thought the opposition's challenge of the result was a bluff, he told supporters on social media on Saturday. So, they will also be surprised on January 15 when they see Venancio Mondlane take office in Maputo. Mondlane has been in self-imposed exile since the assassination of his lawyer on October 19, a killing he blames on security forces, and it was unclear if he intended to return. Different days will come, said the 50-year-old, who appealed to disenchanted younger voters in a country of 33 million people, marked by poverty despite its abundant resources. The Constitutional Council's ruling will lead Mozambique either to peace or chaos, Mondlane said in an online address, promising a new popular uprising at a level never seen before. The dispute sparked an explosion of protests that have brought city centers to a standstill, disrupted industry and power plants, and halted operations at the main border with South Africa, causing its neighbor major losses in exports. Police have been accused of using live bullets against protesters, with at least 130 people killed, according to civil society group Plataforma Decide, whose figures have been cited by Amnesty International. The preliminary results put Mondlane as runner-up in the presidential vote with 20% compared to 71% for Chapo. Mondlane claims the count shows he won 53% to 36% for Chapo. Frama Pani, NTA News.
U.S. President Joe Biden on Monday commuted the death sentences of 37 of 40 federal inmates. This is coming ahead of the return of Donald Trump, who oversaw a sweeping number of lethal injections during his first term. With less than a month left in office, President Biden, who had faced growing calls from death penalty opponents to commute the sentences of those on death row to life in prison without parole, which the 7 will now serve. The move leaves only a handful of high-profile killers who acted out of hate or terrorism facing the federal death penalty, for which there has been a moratorium under Biden. In a statement, Biden says that he is commuting the sentences of 37 of the 40 individuals on federal death row to life sentences without the possibility of parole. He says the 3 inmates who will remain on federal death row include Zokhar Tsarnaev, who helped carry out the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing, and Dylan Roof, an avowed white supremacist who in 2015 shot and killed 9 black churchgoers in Charleston, South Carolina. Another is Robert Bowers, who killed 11 Jewish worshippers during a 2018 mass shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. Jordanian Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi expresses his country's support for Syria's reconstruction in a meeting with its new leader Ahmed al-Shara on Monday, in the latest visit to Damascus by a high-profile delegation since Bashar al-Assad's overthrow. Here is the report.
It was the first trip to Syria by a senior Jordanian official since Assad's fall, with images distributed by the Jordanian Foreign Ministry showing Safadi and Shara shaking hands. Jordan's official Al-Amlaka TV later reported that Safadi had discussed avenues of cooperation with the new authorities, including the areas of trade, border management, aid and electricity connections, along with security. Safadi expressed support for a government that represents all spectrums in Syria, as well as for the drafting of a new constitution, according to Al-Amlaka TV. Shara, whose Islamist group, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, spearheaded the offensive that toppled Assad on December 8, has welcomed senior officials from a host of Middle Eastern countries and beyond in recent days. Some Syrians who had fled the war since 2011 had sought refuge in Jordan, have been returning home, according to Jordanian authorities. Safadi said Jordan should provide all means of support to Syrian refugees and stressed that the return to their country must be voluntary. Frama Pani, NTA News.
The first batch of Christian pilgrims from the 2024 main pilgrimage exercise have arrived safely in Amman, Jordan, to begin their spiritual journey. The inaugural flight, comprising mainly Lagos pilgrims, departed Murtala Mohammed International Airport on 22nd December 2024. The Executive Secretary of the Christian Pilgrims Commission, Bishop Stephen Adegbite, led the delegation to Israel and Jordan. The Nigerian ambassador to Jordan, Kamfut Umaru, was at the airport to receive the Executive Secretary of NCPC, officials and the pilgrims. The pilgrims will spend 3 days in Jordan before proceeding to Israel to continue the rest of their pilgrimage activities, which are scheduled to last 10 days. The solid mineral sector is now a proud child of the Nigerian economy, as the contribution from the sector appreciates. Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, expressed this at a media chat in Abuja. Mie Ogidi reports.
Microphone cord properly checked to avoid any audio loss. The chief miner faces the watchdog. Task simple. Delay to deal with the journalist 2024 diary.
Your role is that of a watchdog over those of us in administration.
First question is prized achievement for the year 2024.
Believe me, every day I come to work is a prized achievement.
Yes, sound health to deal with the solid mineral sector, prized one indeed. But for the health and wealth of the nation, Dele says he is a happy man as he reflects on the achievements from January to December 2024.
And I'm happy to tell you that within 1 year, we've significantly increased the revenue accruing to government. Do a serious calculation of the contribution that this sector has made into the GDP in the last 1 year. You'll be shocked. There's a job creation of over 1,200 from new processing plants that have come on stream within the year, in obedience to our policy initiative on value addition.
2024, great one. 2025 will be greater, Alake says, and Solid Minerals Ministry is indeed standing on solid leadership. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
And federal government has spent 1.8 billion naira for the procurement of tractors and combined harvesters under the Abuja Jamari River Basin Development Authority to change the fortunes of agriculture from subsistence to mechanized farming. Hanasu Hassan Bere reports that the tractors and combined harvesters were inaugurated by the Minister of Water Resources, Joseph Utaf, in Kano for distribution to farmers.
Peasant farming has been synonymous with Nigeria's agricultural sector, which makes it difficult to overcome challenges of food security. Low standard of education and lack of modern technology among farmers are major impediments for the realization of sufficiency in food production. Muhammad Sani is among thousands of peasant farmers in Bunkure local government area of Kano State, whose traditional farming system impeded his dream of overcoming agricultural deficit over the years. Overcoming these challenges is what prompted the federal government to procure farm implements to empower farmers to transit from peasant to mechanized farming. While inaugurating the implements at Hadija Jama'ari River Basin Development Authority, Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Joseph Utsik, said the intervention is key to the President Tinubu's desire for a more prosperous and enduring nation.
By doing this, there will be more of food production in the country, and the economy of this country will also be enhanced. We sincerely want to thank the President for the support, for making available the funds and approvals for the actualization of this particular project.
We plan to work in association with the farmer associations. We will give it to them on commercial hire basis. They will be remitting part of the requested to the authority to boost our revenue generation drive.
He urged beneficiaries to utilize the implements to redouble their yields as the surest way to addressing food insecurity. In Kano, Yohannes Hassan Barrow, NTA News.
Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kari, condoles and sympathizes with the victims and families affected by the tragic stampede during the recent rice distribution events in Abuja, Anambra and Oyo states. The minister in a statement expressed his sadness by the incidents which resulted in injuries and tragically the loss of lives. Abubakar Kari also states that the government under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu is dedicated to ensuring that Nigerians have access to quality and affordable food at all times. He says President Tinubu has emphasized his commitment to a situation where no Nigerian goes to bed hungry. The minister announced that the government is supporting farmers by reducing production costs to combat food inflation. He said this year, under the 2024-2025 dry season farming initiative, about 280,000 farmers are benefiting from government subsidies to scale up production. The ministry, through the NAGSAP, is providing a 75% discount on the inputs needed by farmers, including fertilizer, chemicals, and seeds. Now, the National Park Service in 2024 expanded its reach with the takeover of 3 forest reserves as national parks, which include Abuja Wetlands in Jigawa, Oba Hills in Osun, and Malhai National Parks in Nasarawa State. Convener General National Park Service Ibrahim Guni said this while reviewing activities of the service in 2024. Charles Alpha has the details.
The feat achieved by the service this year, the Conservator General of Park, Ibrahim Goni, said, demonstrates the service's commitment to conservation, protection and community engagement, as well as the protection of Nigeria's natural heritage. The CG said the service has enhanced its anti-poaching efforts through the deployment of high-tech equipment. He added that this initiative has resulted in 621 arrests, with 466 prosecutions, 61 compoundments and 94 warnings in renewed efforts to combating wildlife crimes. The Conservator General expressed elation over partnership with government, non-government and international organizations, which he said has enhanced anti-poaching efforts.
Atsina, Kobo, Jigawa, that is the wetlands, which of course we have already taken over, and Marahai National Parks in Nasarawa State, the national park that have benefited from the project of barrack construction.
30 forest guards, he said, from the Federal Capital Territory Forestry Department were trained in forest resources conservation and protection by the service. In a year that saw the election of Assistant Conservator of Park, Mohammed D. Kobala, as Africa's regional representative in the International Rangers Federation Executive, the service launched several conservation initiatives, including Nigeria's first National Elephant Action Plan. Goni said, despite these achievements, the service also faced vulnerability of protected areas around the national parks. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Watching news at 7 from the Abuja studios of NTA International. We take a short break. Just stay. Now, the Governing Council of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, NIPR, has dissolved the Executive Committee of the Public Relations Consultants Association of Nigeria in accordance with the provisions of the law. In a statement signed by the Director, Public Relations of the Institute, Stanley Ugadigo, Council 117th meeting had a comprehensive review of PRCAN's operations and took the decision to dissolve the leadership, citing issues of tenure elongation, declining performance, and the need to revitalize and reposition the associations aligned with the NIPR strategic objectives as major reasons. NIPR appreciated the immediate past president of PRCAN, Israel Okpayemi, and requested his cooperation to ensure a seamless transition that is critical for the revitalization of the association. Equally, the NIPR has appointed Nkechi Alibalogun as chairman and Dr. Dari Ogunyebo as secretary. Council Committee on Revitalization of PRCAN, with a mandate to oversee the activities of the association and conduct a free and fair election not later than 30th April 2025. The federal government has declared Wednesday 25th and Thursday 26th December 2024 and Wednesday 1st January 2025 as public holidays to celebrate Christmas, Boxing Day and the New Year. Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunjeju, who made the declaration in a statement, extended warm greetings to all Nigerians, urging them to use the festive period to reflect on the values of love, peace and unity that the season signifies. The minister emphasized the importance of the season as a time to foster harmony and strengthen bonds across families and communities. While wishing Nigerians Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2025, Tunjeju called for continued commitments to the peace, unity and progress of the nation for national development. Health journalists have been urged to prioritize wellness and health promotion as they perform their duties in society. Director General of the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, Dr. Temitope Ileri, gave the charge during an end-of-year appreciation event in Abuja. It was a day of celebration and reflection at the events when NACA detailed the crucial role of journalists in defining public awareness about HIV/AIDS and other public health challenges.
The gospel of HIV is all about media. It's all about prevention, it's all about treatment, but the news has to be out there, the information has to be out there. So we can't do it apart, without you. And we appreciate that you are collaborating with us, you are partnering with us in this very vision and mission and this goal of achieving an AIDS-free generation.
In recognition of their efforts, NACA presented awards to outstanding journalists for their commitment to reporting on HIV/AIDS related issues. Among the awardees was NTA's Basi Taipang, who was lauded for her contributions to HIV/AIDS advocacy.
Wonderful. They said to whom honor is given. It's either for you to do more, and either for you to do very more, and either for you to do well. So we say, ma, we are proud of the honor done to us this evening.
The events also featured a range of interactive activities. The need for security agencies and other people of vested interest rise to the challenge of cleaning up and detonating other improvised explosive devices still hidden in the troubled zones of Shiroro local government area of Niger State has been stressed to further avert tragic occurrences. Senator representing Niger East Senatorial District, Sani Musa, raised the concern during a sympathy visit to the survivors of the last Friday's explosion in Basa village, currently receiving treatment at the Ibu Specialist Hospital in Mina. Fatima Osman reports.
These are key players in the implementation of projects funded by the federal government and the development partners. The meeting was chaired by the Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Ali Sabi Abdullahi. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture is implementing 4 key projects funded by the World Bank, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, the Islamic Development Bank, and the African Development Bank. The purpose of the meeting was to review and approve the 2025 annual work plan and budget for the 4 key agricultural donor-funded projects.
This will greatly support project implementation for the transformation of our national agri-food systems. While executing the above functions, it is important to reiterate that the focus of the ministry at this point in time is to ramp up production and scale up value addition, thereby reducing.
On Our sincere apologies for rolling the wrong film. The correct story will come to you subsequently. Now, the National Assembly Service Commission has appointed Atiku Ibrahim as the substantive deputy clerk to the National Assembly. In a statement, the commission indicates that the appointment is effective from 2nd February 2025. The appointment is in recognition of his hard work and administrative competence. Before this appointment, Atiku served as the Director of Finance and Accounts of Representatives. Let's join Bright Abuja on sports updates.
Police Barretta Football Club from Gombe are still celebrating their victory after securing the New Year Mega Lottery NLO Super 8 title. They became champions by defeating Family Worship Champions FC from Abuja in a penalty shootout 6-5 after the match ended in a goalless draw during regular time. The final match was held at the Buhari Stadium complex in Abuja over the weekend, where both teams delivered impressive performances worthy of the trophy. As a reward for their outstanding achievement in winning the unbeaten championship, Police Barretta was presented with a symbolic key to an 18-seater bus. In another news, Brazilian teenager João Fonseca expressed that his victory at the ATP Next Gen Finals in Jeddah on Sunday had inspired him to aspire to be like Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz and aim for the world #1 spot. The 18-year-old from Rio de Janeiro shone in the tournament for players aged 20 and under, defeating American Leonard Tien in the final and earning over $500,000 in prize money for his unbeaten performance. And finally, Nikola Jokic overcame a slow start to achieve a triple-double as the visiting Denver Nuggets rallied from a 17-point deficit to beat the New Orleans Pelicans 132-129 in overtime on Sunday night. Jokic was scoreless until late in the second quarter, finishing the game with 27 points, 13 rebounds and 10 assists, marking his NBA leading 11th triple-double of the season. He scored 21 of his 27 points in the second half and overtime, while Jamal Murray also contributed with 27 points and Russell Westbrook added 21. With sports update, Bright Abuja, NTA News.
It's a cold and windy Monday evening in some states of Nigeria, especially up north. Now here's the weather forecast for Tuesday. And that's the news at this time on NTA International. We thank you for watching. John Bamidele has been your sign language interpreter, and I remain Lami Ali. Do have a good evening.